Terry Collins is set to manage his 1,012th game
Wow.
as manager of the New York Mets. Wow is right. Tying Davey Johnson for the all-time franchise record. He's been under fire all year for the Metropolitans with their myriad of health issues, we know. And look, this has been a guy in those 7 seasons. You can make the argument, Dylan, they've tried to fire him for 3 or 4 of those.
He's got 9 lives, that's for sure.
What's his legacy with the Metropolitans?
I think, that's an interesting question, and I think it's a little hot and cold. I think overall, it's been a positive run. You don't manage the most games in organization history without having a lot of success.
No.
They've had a lot of success, and I think when you manage in New York, it's just an extra plate you got to spin. Not worrying about how you're going to beat the Cardinals, how you're going to beat the Nationals, how you're going to beat the real tough competition of the National League, how you're going to deal with getting through injuries, which I know is part of every team's existence, but it seems like the Mets have really been snake bit with injuries more than other teams,
Sure.
especially this year, but over the past couple years. And through all of that, sometimes with an iron fist, sometimes in weird, strange ways, but Terry Collins has always seemed to keep this team on track and kept them competitive. I know there's some people out there that feel like we got to get a new message in the clubhouse. This thing is run thin, and Terry's holding on for dear life now. Let's put him out of his misery. Let's get the team in a new direction and cut TC loose. But I think when you look back legacy-wise, it's one of success. I mean, who thought they would be 2015 National League champs? I didn't.
No, I didn't see that coming either. And as a Metropolitan fan, I thought early on, TC's not going to be around here long. He'll be like a Dallas Green or even a Willie Randolph. You think maybe a cup of coffee, a couple good years, but then he's out. He's got to be in the Davey discussion and probably like in the Bobby Valentine discussion. When you go to World Series like Bobby did, they didn't win.
Yep.
But this is what TC did. Now, Davey did win, obviously, in '86. That puts you apart a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Davey's in special, on a special plateau because of winning in '86 and how miraculous that was.
I still want Davey to come back. I mean, Terry's doing a fine job.
Where do you see, because I think there's a mirror between when you look at the legacy of Bobby Valentine getting to one, not winning.
Yeah.
And you look at Terry Collins getting to one, not winning, losing to the Royals. Who was a better manager in your estimation? You've been a fan of the team through both of those eras.
I was always critical of Bobby Valentine. Then again, I've been very critical of Terry Collins. That's being a Met fan. You're always critical of the guy. The one guy I was never critical of was Davey.
Yeah.
That was the guy. Davey was the guy that could do no harm, I think, in most Mets fans' eyes. Just couldn't, right? Whereas these other guys, they're not Davey, so therefore, what's the fault? We're always trying to find fault. Instead of looking at the positives, I think you're right on. Terry Collins has done a remarkable job of piecemealing this thing together. Who's had more injuries than the Metropolitans?
Yeah, I don't think anyone. I really think he's had a tough time at trying to put together a roster, a pitching staff, through a myriad of injuries, suspensions, a lot of weird things. Really, we look at it, if they don't acquire Yoenis Cespedes a few years back, he loses his job.
No doubt.
And through all of that, he's kind of kept things together for the Mets. I mean, they make the playoffs last year. Thor pitches his ass off. They just run into an even better ace in Madison Bumgarner. But all things told, I think they've overachieved in the Terry Collins era.
I thought Willie Randolph was going to be the guy. And they dropped him off at an airport in Los Angeles. I don't know if he ever got back to New York.
Man.